Hello, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is doing wonderful. You already know what time it is. It's time for the Big Ten tournament. The intensity is rising, the brackets are heating up, and the road to March Madness runs straight through the Big Ten conference. In today's video, we're diving into everything you need to know about this year's tournament. The matchups, the standout players, team momentum, and those high-stake moments that make this tournament one of the most exciting in college hoops. We're talking underdogs, powerhouses, and potential Cinderella stories, plus key players. Can a team like Iowa make a surprise run? Will USC make noise in the new Big Ten surroundings, or will Michigan State hold on to the one seed and win it all? Who's going to punch their ticket and who's going home early? Stick around because we're breaking it all down. Stats, storylines, and bold predictions. You won't want to miss it. Let's jump right into the badness. Coming in at 15, we have the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes have a balanced scoring threats with multiple players averaging double-digit points like Owen Freeman 16.7 and Peyton Sandfort 16.3 and Josh Dix 14.1 points per game, showing a well-distributed offense attack rather than reliance on a single scorer. Brock Harding leads with 5.4 assists per game, and several others contribute consistently. For example, Thowell and Dix are around 2.8, 2.9 assists per game, indicating strong ball movement and unselfish playmaking across the lineup. Now, this team has solid shooting efficiency, and especially inside. The team collectively shoots 48.6 from the field, with standout efficiency from Owen Freeman, which has 63.8%, and Evan Braun 77.8%, suggesting a strong inside scoring presence and smart shot selection. However, the Hawkeyes have some players like Josh Dix 42.5% and Thowell 43.4%, who shoot well, including key players like Peyton Sandfort 32.6%, show inconsistency. As a team, 37.7% from three-point is decent but could be streaky in big games. Outside of Owen Freeman's 1.8 blocks per game and Brock Harding's 1.6 steals per game, the team lacks rim protection and high defensive disruption, which could be a liability against strong offensive opponents. While Peyton Sandfort 88.8% free throw is elite, others like Freeman 60% and Price Sandfort 63.4% bring down the team average to 70.5 free throw percent overall, which could hurt them in tight late game situations. The USC Trojans come in at number 14. Desmond Claude is the leader of the team, averaging 15.8 points per game, 4.2 assists per game, and 3.5 turnovers per game. He is a dynamic playmaker who could both score and distribute the ball effectively. His 49.2% shooting and 33.3% from three makes him a versatile offensive weapon. His ability to create for others while also being a consistent scorer gives USC a well-rounded offensive edge. The Trojans have several players who can contribute offensively. For example, Wesley Yates III with 13.8 points per game, Chibazu Agbo 11.9 points per game, and St. Thomas 9.2 points per game. All provide solid scoring support alongside Claude. This depth allows USC to spread the scoring load, preventing the team from becoming too reliant on one player and making them a threat from various positions. USC shoots 74.4% from the free throw line, with players like Chibuzu about 86.1% and Terrence Williams II 81% leading the way. This high free throw percentage helps them capitalize on opportunities and close out tight games. Additionally, they shoot 48.2% from the field as a team, which is strong and shows their efficiency. However, St. Thomas, he leads the team with 5.8 rebounds per game. But even that, the team struggles to consistently control the boards as they rank lower in overall rebounding. Players like Josh Cohen and Rashawn Agreed contribute, but the overall team may lack dominance on the glass, which could lead to missed second chance opportunities. The Trojans average around 12.2 turnovers per game. While players like Desmond Claude handle the ball a lot, they still commit a significant number of turnovers. This can disrupt offensive flow and provide easy scoring opportunities for opponents. While Yates III shoots 42.1% and Agbu shoots 40%, these guys are effective three-point shooters. The team overall only shoots 36.8% from beyond the arc. There's inconsistency across other players in hitting from deep, which can hurt the team's spacing and offensive flexibility. A more consistent shooting performance from the perimeter create better spacing for inside players and reduce defensive pressure on Claude. Moving on to the 13th seed, the Northwestern Wildcats. The main thing here is Nick Martinelli. He is the standout player for this team, leading the team with 20.2 points per game and 6.2 rebounds per game. He is highly efficient, shooting from 46.7% from the field and can contribute both offensively and on the glass. Martinelli's scoring ability makes him a consistent threat on the floor and a focal point of the Wildcats' offense. Northwestern boasts some impressive three-point shooters, especially Jalen Leach, that shoots 39.4%, and Ty Berry, who shoots 39.1%. As a team, they shoot 33.7% from beyond the arc, providing great spacing and balanced offensive attack. This ability to hit from long range gives them the potential to stretch defenses and open up opportunities for inside play. The Wildcats have solid defenders, with Ty Berry leading the team in steals with 1.4, and Matthew Nicholson contributing 1.3 blocks per game. This defensive scheme helps Northwestern contest shots and disrupt opponents' offenses, making them tough to score against. While Martinelli is the primary scorer, the Wildcats have relatively limited scoring options beyond him. Players like Brooks Barnheiser with 17.1 points per game and Leach 14.3 points per game provide support, but after that, the team just lacks consistent second or third string options. If Martinelli is contained or he's injured, the team may struggle to maintain offensive production. While Leach and Berry are effective shooters, many of the other role players struggle from beyond the arc, with players like KJ Windham shooting 29.7% and Angelo Ciravano shooting 30.6%, shooting poorly from three-point range. This inconsistency can hurt the offensive spacing and make them more predictable to opponents to defend. The Wildcats have an average of 9.8 turnovers per game. Players like Martinelli with 2.1 and Berry with 2.8 turnovers a game contribute to these turnover numbers. Especially turnovers can lead to missed scoring opportunities and allow opponents to capitalize on fast break chances. Onto the 12 seed, we have the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now these Gophers have rebounding dominance, mainly Dawson Garcia with 19.1 points per game and 7.5 rebounds per game. He has been the key player for Minnesota, leading the team in both points and rebounds. He is highly efficient, shooting 47.2% from the field, and provides a reliable scoring presence while contributing significantly on the glass. Femi Adubayo stands out defensively with 1.5 steals and 1.2 blocks per game. His ability to defend and disrupt the opposing offense has helped Minnesota maintain a strong defensive presence. He also contributes as a playmaker with 3.6 assists per game. While Garcia is the main scorer, other players like Lucai Patterson and Michael Mitchell Jr. contribute consistently, with Patterson averaging 11.8 points per game and Mitchell at 8.5 points per game. This balance gives the team flexibility in their offensive approach with multiple threats to score. However, the Gophers' three-point shooting is really a concern, with only 32.3% from beyond the arc as a team. Players like Femi Adubayo with 28.9% and Lucai Patterson with 27% have struggled from long range, limiting their spacing on offense, making it harder to stretch defenses. Outside of Garcia, there is limited production in the front court, with players like Parker Fox and Trey Emmons contributing less consistently in scoring and rebounding. Minnesota will need better contributions from these players to compete against stronger teams with depth in the post. Minnesota has averaged 10.8 turnovers per game, with key contributors like Adubayo with 2.3 a game and Mitchell Jr. with just 1. Excellent turnovers could give opponents easy transition opportunities and hinder Minnesota's overall efficiency. Now, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights with the 11th seed have a very specific person who helps them with everything. Dylan Harper, who averages 19.2 points per game, 3.9 assists per game, and 1.4 steals per game, is a dynamic scorer and playmaker. He leads the team in points, assists, and steals, and he also shoots 48% from the field and 34.5% from the three, making him the most versatile offensive weapon on the team. Ace Bailey has 7.2 rebounds per game and has been outstanding on the boards, providing key rebounds both offensively and defensively. His ability to contribute in multiple things like rebounding, blocks, and scoring helps solidify the Rutgers in the inside game. Also, these guys are both freshmen. This team has strong defenders, particularly Harper, who has 1.4 steals a game, and Bailey with 1.3 blocks per game, making Rutgers tough on the defensive end. The team's defensive presence has kept their opponent's offensive efficiency in check. While Harper and Bailey provide solid offensive output, there's really a noticeable drop in scoring from other players. Lathan Somerville and Jeremiah Williams have had their ups and downs, and other peoples like Dylan Grant and Tyson Acuff don't consistently score at a high level. The Scarlet Knights shoot just 33.4% from three as a team, with players like Jeremiah Williams 31% and Jordan Durack 25.6% struggling from beyond the arc. A lack of reliable perimeter shooting could make them vulnerable against teams with stronger perimeter defense. With players like Harper and Williams with 2.3 and 1.8 turnovers a game, the Rutgers have averaged 12.6 turnovers a game, which could hinder the offensive flow and give opponents extra possessions. Now, finally breaking the top 10, the Ohio State Buckeyes are finally in it. All-around offensive and defensive abilities from Bruce Thornton, averaging 17.5 points per game and 4.5 assists per game, is the clear leader of this team. He contributes both in scoring and playmaking. He shoots 49.7% from the field and 42.6% from the three, showcasing efficiency in his scoring. Thornton also provides strong defense, averaging 1.1 steals per game, making him a key player in both offensive and defensive possessions. Ohio State has multiple scoring threats, like Devin Royal, who scores 13.6 points per game, and Micah Parrish, who scores 13.2 points per game. These guys provide a solid second and third string scoring options. With Parrish's 36.3% from 3 and Royal's 29.1% from 3, they bring perimeter shooting along with Thornton's playmaking. Devin Royal's 6.9 rebounds per game and Sean Stewart's 5.8 rebounds per game contribute significantly in the rebounding department. This team totals 36.5 rebounds per game, which is crucial for second chance opportunities and limiting opponents' offensive boards. As a team, Ohio State only shoots 37.2% from 3, and some key players like Royal 29.1% and Parrish 36.3% are not as effective from the perimeter. Against teams that play tight defense in the paint, this lack of consistent shooting could hurt them. Bruce Thornton with 1.4 turnovers per game and other guys like John Mobley Jr. with 2.1 turnovers per game contribute to the team 13.3 turnovers per game, which could lead to lost possessions and opportunities for opponents to capitalize on turnovers. While there are solid players, especially with Thornton and Royal, there is just a lack of consistent scoring across the bench. Players like Michi Johnson Jr. and Quez Glover have lower shooting percentages and have not fully stepped into larger roles. The Indiana Hoosiers sit at number 9. They have a dominant front court presence. Ballo is a true interior force, leading in points with 13.2, rebounds 9.1, and blocks 1.3. His 63.5% field goal percentage is elite, making him a highly efficient scorer and rebounder in the paint. Trey Galloway with 4.5 assists per game and Miles Rice with 2.7 assists per game give Indiana solid playmaking and ball movement. The team averages 15.7 assists per game, higher than Oregon's 14.7, which we'll get to later, suggesting more offensive flow and sharing. Multiple players contribute in limited minutes. Anthony Leal shoots 41.2% from 3, Luke Good 40.3% from 3, and Bryson Tucker's all-around efficiency show that the role players who make smart, impactful contributions can come off the bench. While a few players like Good and Leal shoot well, the team only shoots 32.3% from 3. Players like Tucker, who shoot 50%, don't really stretch the floor. The offense could struggle against teams that pack the paint and force them to shoot. 70.9% team free throw percentage is really below average, and Ballo, their top scorer, only shoots 57.8% from the line. This is a liability in close games or late game fouling situations. Galloway averages 2.4 turnovers a game and Rice 2.2 turnovers a game. This leads the team in turnovers. Combining 11.6 turnovers per game, this could lead to lost possessions and transition points for opponents. At number 8, we have the Oregon Ducks. The Oregon Ducks have a strong interior presence. For example, Nate Biddle is the clear anchor, leading in points 14.1, rebounds 7.3, and blocks 2.2 per game. His 51.3% field goal shooting and rim protection give the Oregon Ducks a solid inside foundation on both ends of the floor. Oregon shoots 76.3% from the free throw line as a team, with multiple key players excelling. For example, Bartholomew 88.4%, Shellstead 84%, Biddle 82.2%, and Angel 82.4%. This makes them reliable in late game situations and able to capitalize on trips to the line. The Ducks really aren't reliant on a single scorer. There's 5 players that average 8+ points per game, with Biddle, Shellstead, Bartholomew, and Bamba all capable of leading in any game. It makes them harder to game plan against and provides offensive versatility. However, Oregon averages just 14.4 assists per game, and no player averages more than 2.9 assists per game, which is Bamba. That suggests limited ball movement, possibly too much isolation, or just a lack of playmaking depth beyond the primary guards. Oregon records 11.1 turnovers per game, and several key contributors average over 1 turnover per game, like Biddle, Bamba, and Angel. This hurts transition defense and leads to missed scoring opportunities. While Bartholomew shoots 42.5% and Shalstead 37.9%, which are sharpshooters, others like Bamba and Evans, who shoot 28 to 24%, are inefficient from deep. As a whole, they shoot 34.2% from three, which is decent but not elite, and heavily reliant on a few players for outside scoring. At number 7, we have the Illinois Fighting Illini. Illinois features multiple double-digit scorers like Kasparis Giaconis with 15.2 points per game, Tomislav Ivicic 12.6 points per game, and Will Riley 12.2 points per game, showing that they're not reliant on just one offensive weapon. On the boards, they average 42.4 rebounds per game, led by Ivicic with 7.6 and Morez Johnson Jr. with 6.6, giving them solid interior presence and second chance opportunities. There are several key players that shoot well from the free throw line. Giaconis 83.2%, Boswell 80.3%, and Draw Gibbs Lawhorn 80.6%. Helping them close games effectively, the team averages 75.8% from the line overall, which is a solid mark and a competitive advantage late in close games. Giaconis with 4.8 assists per game and Boswell with 3.3 assists per game help facilitate strong offensive flow, leading to 14.9 assists per game as a team. Illinois demonstrates a good inside-out ball movement, enabling multiple players to contribute offensively. However, Illinois averages just 31% from beyond the arc, which is below average in today's game. Outside of Humakris and Davis, most players are either streaky or low-volume shooters from deep, which could limit for spacing. Illinois averages 11.4 turnovers a game, with Giaconis 3.4 and Boswell 2.1 responsible for a bulk of them. These miscues can derail momentum and give opponents easy transition buckets. While Morris Johnson Jr. leads with 1.1 blocks per game and Boswell has 1.2 steals per game, the team overall average is just 4.5 steals and 4.2 blocks per game, suggesting a relatively passive defense that might struggle against more aggressive or fast-paced teams. The perimeter defense could be a concern, especially against teams that move the ball well and shoot high percentage threes. The Purdue Boilmakers come in at number 6 with strong offensive production with players like Trey Kaufman-Renn with 19.7 points per game and 61.2% field goal percentage, and Braden Smith with 16.3 points per game and 8.8 assists per game, leading the charge. Purdue boasts a well-balanced and high-scoring offense, with the team averaging 78.3 points per game, showcasing their scoring depth. Braden Smith's 8.8 assists per game stands out as one of the top assist averages nationally, not just the Big Ten, showing that Purdue thrives on unselfishness, team-oriented ball movement. Several other players also contribute assists consistently, indicating good spacing and offensive chemistry. The team has solid shooting percentages across the board, including 49.6% field goal percentage, 38.6% from three, and 73.2% free throw, with multiple players shooting from 40% from deep. These numbers indicate they're making smart shot selections that have reliable perimeter threats. The team leader in blocks, Trey Kaufman-Renn, only averages 0.3 blocks per game, and overall team blocks are very, very low. This indicates a potential defensive weakness in rim protection, making them vulnerable against strong inside teams. Purdue averages 10.5 turnovers per game, with key ball handlers like Smith with 3 turnovers and Kaufman-Renn with 2.3 turnovers, contributing to a large share. These turnovers could lead to a fast break point for opponents and swing momentum in tight games. Purdue's drop-off after the top 6 to 7 players is noticeable. Several players see minimal minutes and contribute few points or rebounds. If foul trouble or injuries occur, depth could become a real problem, especially in high-stake tournament play. The Wisconsin Badgers sit at number 5 with an elite scoring duo in the backcourt. John Tonje has 18.9 points per game, 91.6 free throw percentage, and 37.8 3-point percentage, and John Blackwell with 15.6 points per game and 81.4 free throw percentage. These guys provide a strong 1-2 scoring punch. Both are efficient and consistent offensive threats who can shoot from deep and finish at the line. Tonje in particular is one of the best scorers in the Big Ten. The Badgers boast an 83.6% free throw percentage as a team, which is excellent in critical and close game situations. Multiple players shoot above 80% from the stripe, minimizing lost points at the line. Steven Crowell and Nolan Winter are high effective big men who also contribute rebounding, 5.4 and 6.0 rebounds per game. This gives them Wisconsin a good interior presence on both ends of the floor, supporting their guards well. Now, despite solid rebounding, Wisconsin lacks a true shot blocking presence. No player averages 1 block per game, and the team leader Steven Crowell is only at 0.5. This makes them vulnerable defensively against aggressive slashers or dominant post players. The Badgers average just 2.2 steals per game as a team, showing a relatively passive perimeter defense. They also don't generate a lot of pressure or fast break chances, which can make it harder to swing momentum in tight matchups. While Tanjay and Kamari McGee shoot well from deep, others like Max Klesmit, who shoot 28.3%, and Xavier Amos, which shoots 31.5%, are less consistent from the arc. As a team, they shoot just 35% from 3, which is average, and could struggle if opponents pack the paint and force them to beat them from outside. At number 4, we have the UCLA Bruins. They have a strong scoring balance and shooting efficiency. Tyler Bilodeau has 14 points per game, 50.5 field goal percentage, and 41.2 3-point percentage. And Eric Daly Jr. has 12 points per game, 52.8 field goal percentage, and 41 3-point percentage. These guys are efficient scorers, offering reliable inside-out offensive options. The team overall shoots a solid 47.2% field goal and 35.4% from 3, indicating a capable and well-spaced offense. UCLA has multiple guards contributing across the board. Kobe Johnson is an all-around contributor with 7.9 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and 1.7 steals per game. Dylan Andrews adds a steady hand at point guard with 3.3 assists per game, and Sky Clark contributes both playmaking and shooting. This versatility in the backcourt creates matchup problems for opponents. Kobe Johnson with 1.7 steals a game is a disruptive defender on the wing, and Ade Mara with 1.5 blocks per game protects the paint well despite limited minutes. Together, they offer a balance of interior and perimeter defense. However, outside of the main rotation, bench scoring and minutes are minimal. Players like Trent Perry, William Cal III, and Lazar Stevanovic contribute in short bursts, but beyond the top 6 or 7, UCLA's depth drops off steeply, which could be risky in close or high stamina games. Several players, including key contributors like Kobe Johnson, 69.2%, and Dylan Andrews, 68.4%, are not dependable from the line. As a team, UCLA shoots just 70.5% from the stripe, which could provide costly and late game situations. While UCLA's guards contribute well in scoring and assists, they also give the ball away way too often. For example, Sebastian Mack, 1.5 turnovers a game, and Sky Clark, 1.1 turnovers a game, aren't major turnover machines individually, but the team's 10.8 turnovers per game could be trimmed further to maximize efficiency. Making their way into the top 3, the Michigan Wolverines elite front court presence between Vladislav Golden with 16.7 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game, and 64.2% in the field goal, and Danny Wolf 12.9 points per game, 9.7 rebounds per game, and 3.7 assists per game form a highly productive and versatile big man duo. Golden provides efficient scoring and rim protection, while Wolf contributes heavily to rebounding and playmaking. The Wolverines get solid offensive contributions from multiple positions. Trey Donaldson, 11.5 points per game, 3.9 assists per game. Namari Burnett, 9.9 points per game and 40.6 3-point percent shooting. And Roddy Gale Jr., 9.6 points per game. These guys give multiple scoring threats and a relatively well-rounded offense. Players like Burnett, 40.6%, Donaldson, 38.4%, and Will Shedder, 37.3%, offer respectable perimeter shooting. With a team 3-point percentage of 33.6%, Michigan has enough spacing to open up the floor for their bigs to operate. However, the main problem with Michigan is the turnovers, with 14.4 per game. The team struggles with ball control. Key players like Wolf with 3.3 turnovers a game and Donaldson 2.2 turnovers a game are highly turnover contributors, which can hurt Michigan in close games or against defensive pressure. Michigan is not really generating many steals, only 5.7 steals a game, or blocked 3.7 per game, suggesting a passive defensive style. Only Golden and Wolf offer real rim protection, while perimeter defense seems less active. Outside of the starting lineup from a few key reserves, production really drops. Players like Sam Walters, LJ Carson, and Reuben Jones contribute a bit, but have minimal impact. This lack of depth could become a liability in high-pressure matchups, or if injuries or fouls become a trouble. Coming in at number 2, we have the Maryland Terrapins. Dominant forecourt presence between Derek Queen and Julian gross. Derek Queen averages 15.7 per game and 9.2 rebounds per game, and Julian Reese 13.2 points per game and 9.3 rebounds per game. These guys are a formidable inside duo, consistently producing a double-double level stat. Both also have solid defensive presence with a combined 3.2 blocks per game. Jacoby Gillespie is a well-rounded, high-efficient guard with 14.9 points per game, 4.7 assists per game, 41.5% from the three, and 87.2% from the free throw. This gives Maryland a reliable backcourt scorer. The ability to shoot and create makes the offense more dynamic. The Terrapins have multiple players shooting well from three, including Selton Miguel 42.4% and Gillespie 41.5%, making him a dangerous form beyond the arc and harder to defend. However, after the top 5 to 6 players, scoring and contributions fall off. Players like Deshaun Harris-Smith and Jordan Geronimo are averaging under 3 points per game, suggesting a lack of bench depth, which could be problematic in foul trouble or fatigue scenarios. Key players like Queen with 2.4 turnovers a game and Gillespie with 2 turnovers a game have high turnover numbers, indicating issues with ball security, especially when under defensive pressure. Outside of Gillespie and Rodney Rice, some important players like Deshaun Harris-Smith 53.6% and Taafa Gabra 63% struggle at the line, which could be costly in close games. And the number 1 team in the Big Ten, the Michigan State Spartans. They have a balanced team just really everywhere. Multiple players contribute to different areas. For example, Jaden Akins leads in scoring with 12.9 points per game, Jackson Kohler in rebounds 7.8 rebounds per game, and Jeremy Fears Jr. in assists 5.5 assists per game. This shows that the team doesn't really rely solely on just one star, that there's depth everywhere and versatility across every position. Several players shoot well from the line. Frankie Fiddler 87.9%, Jace Richardson 85.4%, and Trey Holloman 85.2%. This is key in tight games and late game situations where free throws often decide outcomes. The team is really unselfish and moves the ball well, with players like Jeremy Fears Jr. and Trey Holloman both averaging 5.5 assists per game, facilitating the offense. This indicates good ball movement and offensive coordination. However, the main problem with Michigan State is the inconsistent shooting percentages. Jaden Akins, for example, has 39.9 field goal percentage and 29.6 three-point percentage. This has struggled with efficiency, particularly from beyond the arc. This could hurt in games where the perimeter scoring is really needed. Turnovers are a concern, with Jeremy Fears Jr. with 2 turnovers a game and others showing vulnerability in ball security. The team total of 11.7 turnovers per game suggests room for improvement in protecting possessions. And even though MSU has some good sized centers, no player really averages even more than 1 block per game. Jackson Kohler leads with only 0.8 blocks per game, which might indicate a soft rim protecting presence, something that stronger frontcourt opponents can exploit. It is now time for my 2025 Big Ten Tournament bracket. First game, we have the 13th seed Northwestern versus the 12th seed Minnesota. And now, even though it's only a 1 seed difference, I am going to take Northwestern here. Next, we have the 15th seed Iowa Hawkeyes versus the 10th seed Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, I'm going to go Ohio State with this one. I just think it's a better pick. Next, we have the 14th seed USC Trojans and the 11th seed Rutgers Scarlet Knights. I am going to take the Rutgers here because I like their freshman duo. Then we have number 9 Indiana Hoosiers and number 8 Oregon Ducks. I do think the Ducks are going to win this because Indiana has been low scoring in a couple games I've seen. Next game, we have the 13th seed Northwestern Wildcats versus the number 5 Wisconsin Badgers. I'm going to choose the Badgers in this one. Next, we have the number 10 Ohio State Buckeyes and the number 7 Illinois Fighting Illini. And I'm going to take Illinois in this one. Next up, we have the number 11 Scarlet Knight Rutgers, and we have the number 6 Purdue Boilmakers, and I'm going to take Purdue in this one. Next up, we have the number 8 Oregon Ducks versus the number 1 Michigan State Spartans, and I'm going to take Michigan State for this one. Next, we have the number 5 Wisconsin Badgers versus the number 4 UCLA Bruins, and I'm going to take the upset. Even though it's a number 1, I'm going to take Wisconsin over UCLA. Next, we have number 7 Illinois Fighting Illini versus the number 2 Maryland Terrapins. Now, I might get some hate for this, but I do think there's going to be another upset, and I'm going to take Illinois over Maryland. Next, we have the number 6 Purdue Boilmakers versus the number 3 Michigan Wolverines. Again, we have another upset with Purdue going above and beyond over Michigan. Now, on to the semi-finalists. We have the Michigan State Spartans, the number 1 seed, versus the number 5 Wisconsin Badgers. And for this one, I'm going to take the number 1 seed Michigan State Spartans. And for the other semifinalist game, we have the number 7 Illinois Fighting Illini versus the number 6 Purdue Boilmakers. Now this one's tough for me, but I am going to choose the Purdue Boilmakers for this one. And for the final game, we have the number 1 seed Michigan State Spartans and the number 6 seed Purdue Boilmakers. With my choice of the 2025 Big Ten tournament winner, my champion is the number 1 seed Michigan State Spartans. I see the Spartans going really far in March Madness, and obviously I think they're going to win the Big Ten tournament. It's pretty that simple. All right, go green, go white. All right, guys, and that's going to wrap it up for today's breakdown of the Big Ten tournament. We covered the stats, the stars, and the sleeper. And you guys know I'm rocking with the Michigan State Spartans to take it all. With Tom Izzo's tournament experience, clutch guard play, and that classic MSU toughness, don't be surprised if Sparty goes on a deep run and hoists the trophy when it's all said and done. And of course, it's my home school, so I'm going to choose it. But hey, anything can happen in March, and that's what makes it so exciting. Drop your predictions down in the comments, and who do you think is going to win the Big Ten this year? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you guys don't miss any more college hoops content coming your way. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.